today we are back with another video. So basically, as you see on the title and stuff, or the description, whatever the case may be, I'm going to basically tell you a little story time of why I quit Forever 21. So I'm going to start you up for the beginning and then go from there. So basically, it was me and a close friend of mine's so basically it was me and a close friend of mine's, and me and this close friend had went to the mall of the summer of last year of 2018. And me and her, I forgot why we were there. I think we were shopping for something. I don't know what we were shopping for. And basically we were walking by like because they were going to make it like a new Forever 21, and I'll get into that part in a second. So they were making a new Forever 21, and one of the district managers was like, "Hey, would you guys like to want to work?" Da, 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 da. They were like, "Sure," because at that time I was myself looking for another job because the job that I had, it was a good job, but it was like it wasn't as consistent. So at that time I was looking for another job, and I think my friend, she needed a job as well. So obviously, we applied, boop bop bang, this, that, and the third, whatever the case would be. District manager, she got our information, all that stuff, cool. Later down line, had an interview, obviously passed the interview, cool, whatever. So like I said, like a couple minutes ago, whatever the case may be, I said they had to build like a new Forever 21 now. There was an old Forever 21 that they had, but basically there was a new store that was coming in, and basically this new store like bought out the space. Like, this store was a very big store apparently, that they bought out most of the space. So basically the Forever 21 in the mall that I was working at had two floors at the time. Those floors were bought out by that big store because they needed all the space it can handle. So basically, they had to move the Forever 21 to this new little spot in the mall, whatever it could be. So basically, in the beginning, when we were first working there, in the beginning, we had to open up the boxes from the shipments from California, and we had to unload the clothes, get all rid of the plastic, put it on the hanger. Then we were taught how to like organize with the hangers, the clothing, all the stuff. We'll have to know what certain stuff was, all that. So basically, there was at one point in time I was working there, and my store manager was like, David, do you like to clean? Yeah, I feel like that should have been a setup, but I didn't peep it. So I was like, yeah, I don't mind cleaning, whatever the case may be. So at the beginning, I was in charge of doing the cleaning. Basically, that's something that um, basically, there's usually somebody else that's supposed to be doing the cleaning, but since that person wasn't there, they put me in charge of that, which was an issue for me because I applied to become a sales associate. That was the first thing, but we'll get into that later. So in the beginning, I had to have clean, get rid of the boxes, put them in the duster, all that stuff, which was an issue with me, but getting to that later. So the people that they hired in the beginning, they were all good people, this other thing, whatever the case may be. Later down the line, once we first opened, everything was fine, cool. Everybody was in the positions where we all had to do, bang, all that. When our first checks came in from that store, it was the worst checks that ever came out. I didn't get my check, unfortunately. I didn't get that first check that came in, but the people who were getting their checks noticed 10-cent check, their checks that were 10 cents on them, 20 cents, 30 cents, whatever the case might be. Those checks messed up badly. And ever since those checks have messed up kind of badly, everything from the employees and management all went downhill. And it hasn't really recovered since that. It's tried to recover from it, but it really didn't. So over time, people were getting upset with the money. People were blaming management. Management was like, well, it wasn't from us, it's from them. It was a big, very horrible hassle. And during that time, people were getting fired left and right because of some other issues that were happening in the store, and group tech, those little group techs. There were a few assistant managers that was getting fired because one of them was stealing hours. It was a hectic mess. So at some point in time, to try to recuperate from all this, they hired another female in there, which was, I feel like to me, which she was a nice female towards me. She came and basically when she basically replaced the old one who was part of the old crew from the old Forever 21. She got fired because she was stealing hours, and when the new one came in, she was firing people left and right. Most of the people that was in there got fired off bat. Everybody went their separate ways. Everybody got new jobs, this, that, and third. Everybody left. I was still there because I was just only there to do my job. I'm just there to work this, that, and the third. So later down the line, they finally took me off of cleaning, which was, I should have been off cleaning in the first place. But and I finally became a sales associate, this, that, the third. Now, around that time when people was getting fired, this, that, the third, they finally put me on cash register. And I always wanted to do cash register because they put you in a position where they wanted you to walk around the store, talk to customers, all that stuff, which was fine. But at one point in time, they want you to like stay in a certain section, this, that, the third, which was like, to me, that's boring. I need something to be a little bit more productive. So I wanted to be on cash register. Now I was on the cash register for about a few couple months, and then they took me off, which for some strange reason I don't know why they took me off of cash register. I That was more of my better suit. That don't get me wrong, there were times where it was a little bit busy, and yeah, sometimes I would make a mess where the cash register was at, and I would try to clean it up best way I can, just at the third, which I understand that, but it was like they took me off a cash register, which I didn't like, and they really didn't tell me why, but I'm not even gonna go into that story later. So basically during that time when I was on cash register, people were getting fired left and right, and there was this one girl who I think she became like she was like top assistant something. And I know she was. I don't think she was like one of. She wasn't really one of the managers, but she was assistant of something. And I can't figure out the title. But eventually, later down the line, she left, and she basically I don't know what she's doing now, but she left at some point because at this point, management was coming, a new type of management were coming in, this, that, the third, all that. So basically, during this whole time, people were getting fired left and right. The people who were working there at the beginning, who was there for the job, were still there. That obviously includes me. I forgot to mention my friend. She already had quit at some point because they stopped putting her on the schedule. There was another friend of hers that was working there, but she quit way in the beginning because they stopped putting her on. So basically, at this point, it was just really me and maybe a few other people that I worked with in the beginning, not including like management and visual and all that other stuff. But it was just very interesting because we had people that there, people came and gone, all this other stuff. So um, just my breaking point was when this was like a few, but like what when was this? I forgot when, but my breaking point because was at that time when the fitting room was a mess, and the fitting room was always a mess. There, it's like when you work in the fitting room, you have the customers are only supposed to have like 6 pieces of clothing in their oh excuse me in their um dressing rooms, and basically with that it's 6 clothing in the fitting room, all this other stuff, whatever, whatever. So whoever does fitting room, they're supposed to put the clothes back on the rack, and at some point when it like would die down, then what will happen is they would have to bring the clothes back into certain sections. Now with me, they only really put me on once a week. It was rarely that they put me on for more days, but they only really put me on for about once a week, and it was only for 4 hours a week, mind you, minimum wage. So imagine only working one day out the week for 4 hours on a minimum wage budget. Yeah, it's that's after in the beginning it's fine, but after a while it's time to go. So my breaking point was when I got into that fitting room, and those clothes looked at a hot mess. Like Nobody looked. It was about 3 full racks of clothes, and it looked like nobody put the clothes back. They was just basically had left somebody else to do that for them, which I didn't like. But that's how people are, and it just looked terrible. So it was like, it was time to go. It was for me time to go because management was always acting funny since the beginning. I'm not saying all of the management was bad because there was a few people that I did like. There was even a few coworkers that I did like as well. But management was always acting funny since the beginning, and I never did like funny management. Just can't do with that. I don't like being around funny people like that. But that was that's how some people are. Some people are set up this, that, and the third, and you can't really do nothing to it. So that was my breaking point with that. And I was working at Forever 21 for about a little bit over 9 months. Because I started working there in August, and yeah, I had quit in around May. Basically, had quit up in May, and yeah, I couldn't do it. I just It's like when you're working at a job for a while, it's like you could be able to tolerate certain things and just deal with it, keep it moving, but it comes to a point where you could just only deal with but so much. And that was just at my breaking point. And I already know how management was set up, and around that time, there was only a few people left that still was working there since the beginning, and most of everybody just left and quit or just was fired. So over time, you stay there for a little bit as much as you can, just wing it out, and it just gets to the point where, all right, you did your part, you're done, can't do it no more, keep it moving. So I just wanted to share that story with you. Hopefully, I know this might discourage somebody to not work at Forever 21. Just that particular Forever 21 was just a little bit issue with me, but if you do want to work at Forever 21, whatever the case may be, hopefully this doesn't discourage. But that was just my personal experience dealing with that type of retail and how they were set up as a group, selective group, whatever the case may be. So hopefully I know it's a long video, but I always gotta tell my story somewhere in form. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully that you did like it. If you did, you give it a big thumbs up, share it amongst your friends and family. And as always, bring love, positivity, support, kindliness, goodliness. And I will see you guys when I see you. Y'all stay blessed, everyone.